I love that notion of starting with create happy teams. And Alistair even mentioned it, having a happiness index is like a whole different place to start. And that comes out of a common purpose and accountability and an outcome focus with clear communication. And then the notion that, you can collaborate with all sorts of resources. And that immediately made me think of Stephen Covey's The Speed of Trust. If you haven't read it, it's actually quite a interesting book that the hypothesis of which is that the more trust there is in teams and in collaborative environments, the quicker things get done. So it's quite an interesting one. A team is the people that collaborate for shared value in general. Melissa touched on the payroll myth, time versus results. Results equal value rather than time. And, the more value, the more momentum in the company. Then she touched on the frame of reference and experience perspective. So perspective means different things to different people. And this is one of my favorite topics when we come across new entrepreneurs, is really understanding where they're coming from, what their frame of reference has been, what their experience is. And even with experienced people, you find that understanding of different concepts is incredibly different depending on your frame of mind, your mindset, your own personal values and perceptions. So there's a huge need for a common understanding. And then Melissa introduced us to the team canvas. Sorry, I need to just find the controls. And you've all seen the team canvas, and we spoke through it in some detail. I believe there is a full case study that will be shared. Is that right, Diesel? Melissa?
Correct, yes. We will share as part of the assets that we are sharing.
Yeah, so to answer Ben's question in detail, there's a detailed case study of the use of the canvas. So that's great. And then Melissa, we spoke a bit about a capability map, which made me think of the Deloitte value map versus the entrepreneurial brain. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Deloitte value map, but it's got about 1,000 capabilities on it. And I always, when people sometimes see the entrepreneurial brain for the first time, they go, oh shit, do I really need to know all of this? And the answer is absolutely not. And the Deloitte value map is that enterprise value map. Maybe I should actually change that just to the enterprise value map, is the way you don't have to do it in the modern world, because you really need the capabilities that you want to deploy to get the job done right now, to move the needle right now. You don't need all of the capabilities all of the time. So your key activities then need to focus on outcomes and results. And Alistair made the point about the new world, and I was thinking of, so look at the XO canvas in the context of the team value map, and there was a bit of discussion about that, which is great. We then spoke about by who. So if you've read Measure What Matters, they always talk about as measured by. So when you've got an outcome that somebody is accountable for, as measured by what? And we spoke a bit about a cascading hierarchy versus alacrity and self-managed teams. So that was pretty cool. Behaviors aligned to values, and again, the point about your perspectives and the nuances of understanding of those values is very important. Use the team canvas to give meaning to accountability and expectations, and as part of an onboarding engagement. And I thought that was pretty cool, and not just for employees, but for anyone that engages with, takes accountability for some of the outcomes that you're trying to drive. And aligning behavioral expectations across the tribe, community, team. So it's not just about your own team, but it's about the purpose of the tribe that you're trying to drive. Having an equal voice at the table came up a couple of times, and I made the point that coaching is the new management, and it's more about perhaps we should, or what about, that kind of language, rather than you will. kind of thing. So self-directed teams need their own canvas. They need rules of engagement, mindfulness, being present, respectful, etc. You know, what are those things that we agree we will adopt and follow? And then Melissa's tips were awesome. So enablers for engagement, resources, decision makers, clear communication, clear results as measured by, and how frequently communicate. So not, you know, don't be the loudest voice in the room. Collaboration, listen intentionally, feedback and engage. And then this point about trust, I think, is absolutely critical. So inclusivity, being human, being transparent. The more you give, the more you get. One of my favorite kind of mantras. And the notion of the happiness index once again. And then we touched on an MTP. So, you know, and Melissa mentioned that she's run a number of why workshops, because defining the problem space and why you're actually focusing on what you're trying to solve and how you will do that in big, bold terms is part of the notion of a massive transformative purpose. But then belonging to a tribe or a community with that purpose, with shared values, and finding your own why and resonating with that massive transformative purpose is pretty important. And then the last slide, econometric personal driving dynamics. I mentioned all teams are groups of individuals, as Lloyd was saying, so each have a heart and mind, and you know, we really need to keep that in mind. Use standardized tools with caution based on how and why, Lloyd's other point. And just the last point from me, this year will be as great as we make it, and we have big plans to make it great. So keep sharing with us. Thanks very much. That's the end of my summary, Liesl. I'll stop.